Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. Grab yourself a cup of tea and relax, because in today's video I am going to talk about university again. A couple of weeks ago I spoke about starting university and like getting through that first year, and now I thought in this video I would go to the other end of the spectrum and talk about writing your dissertation. So if you're going into your third year, you will obviously be starting to think about writing your dissertation. You may have already done your proposal or started doing it kind of over the summer, but it is like dissertation writing time, like from now basically, from what I remember. I did mine a couple of years ago now, gosh, that was a while ago, and it is a stressful time, and I just wanted to kind of share a few tips and stuff that I picked up along the way. Obviously I can't tell you exactly how to write a dissertation because everyone's dissertations are going to be different, and I can't, tell you how to write one that's going to get a good mark, but I've picked up some tips for just like the whole process of trying to write it, because it's a big piece of work. You may not have done anything that big before and it can be really, really daunting. So yeah, I just thought I would share some of the stuff that I picked up to hopefully try and make that a little bit easier for you. If you don't know what a dissertation is, because some people do different things, some people are from different countries, basically a lot of people in the UK, in your third year, you will have like a big written project to write, like a massive sort of paper about usually a topic of your own choice. Again, it depends what course you're doing. Some people don't have to do a dissertation, some people's are bigger than others and stuff, but basically it's like a big bit of like individual research and presenting that research and stuff to your tutors to sort of show what you've learned over those 3 years. So yes, if you're doing that this year, then I'm hoping that these tips you might just find them a little bit helpful, and they might help you get through that little bit of a stressful time that is writing your dissertation. So just for kind of reference, I studied journalism when I went to university, and as such my dissertation was kind of along those lines. So this is my dissertation here, and mine was called "What Makes Zoella's Fans Relate to Her in a Highly Sexualized Society." So basically, yeah, journalism was very much like a big topic. Like you could pretty much choose anything. I was looking at like past dissertations and there was just so much variety. But I've obviously got quite an interest in social media and things like that, so I knew I wanted to do it about something to do with that, and that's what I picked with the help of my tutors and things like that. I got a first in my dissertation, so I'm hoping that some of the tips that I have picked up will be useful, as they helped me obviously get to that point. But yes, I'm going to stop rambling now, because obviously I've told you a little bit about my background, and I'm just going to get straight into giving you some of the tips that I found helpful. So the first thing that I would say when you're choosing what you're going to write your dissertation about is to choose a topic that you're not going to lose interest in. You are pretty much going to spend a year on this piece of work, and you're going to spend a lot of time on it, and you need to pick a topic that is going to hold your interest for that entire time. I know some friends, picked topics and they got to the point where they were just like, I absolutely hate this topic because I've had to do like so much into it. And like, to be fair, even I chose a topic that I was really, really interested in, but as it was getting towards the end, I was getting a bit like, okay, I don't want to do anything else about social media for a very long time. But generally I was quite happy with my topic. I found it very interesting, and that made the whole process a lot easier. So when you're thinking about choosing what you're going to write about, especially if you can pretty much write about whatever you want, really think about what is a topic that is going to hold your interest and that you're going to enjoy doing for pretty much a whole year. Because believe me, if you pick one that you think other people are going to find interesting but you don't, you'll get so fed up of it. So yeah, really pick carefully. The next thing that I would really suggest doing is to just break everything down. I remember when we first got given our sort of dissertations and got told like how many words. I think mine was 8,000 words, which is kind of I think some people have a lot more words to do. We also had a final major project, so our dissertation was a bit smaller, but still 8,000 words feels like a lot. And I remember looking at it and just thinking, oh my God, I cannot write 8,000 words. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And a lot of our tutors just said, look, don't look at it as 8,000 words. Look at it, like, break it down into different parts. So, you know, first of all, concentrate on like your literature review, and that, looking at just that bit, it kind of just feels like you're just writing another essay like you have done for the last like 2.5 years. So just try not to look at it all at once, because it will just overwhelm you. It will make you feel even more stressed out, thinking like, oh my God, I've got to write 8,000, 10,000, whatever it is, words. And it's just, once I started to break it down, it just became a lot easier. And you know, you write all these little different like chapters, and all of a sudden you realise that you've got like your 8,000 words, and you haven't really thought about writing 8,000 words. You've just done like 1,000 here and like 2,000 there, and it's like, it just makes it a lot easier. So break it down, don't look at the whole picture to begin with anyway, and that will just make it a whole less stressful for you. So once you've chosen your topic and you know what you're going to be doing, don't just try and like go straight in to writing it. Spend some time planning. Planning was my like saviour. If I hadn't planned, I would have felt like I was drowning, basically. So, you know, before you even start writing, just work out like what sections and chapters are you going to need, and what do you want to kind of try and cover in all of those bits, and make lots of notes. You know, write it all down, do little spider diagrams for each like section, because it will just make it so much easier. You know, trying to sit down and like with a blank piece of paper and be like, right, I've got to write 8,000 words on this, let's go, is just setting yourself up to fail. It's so much easier if you've got plans and you've planned each individual section out, because then you can work on each section at a time, and you know kind of roughly what you're kind of expecting to go in there, the research that you're going to need to do, and you can sort of set yourself, you know, little goals of like what you're going to get done. So definitely plan. You honestly cannot plan enough. I definitely spent at least a couple of weeks before I started doing my dissertation just planning and, you know, getting it all worked out before I even started worrying about doing any research or writing or anything like that. Another really good tip that I was told is to write as many notes as you can, and make sure that you kind of label and categorize everything so that you can find it. I don't think there is ever such a thing as writing too many notes. I was literally writing everything down, any ideas that I had. I think I had a notebook that was like specifically for my dissertation, and I would just write anything in there, any bits of research that I'd been told about or that I'd found, any ideas that I kind of came up with, everything went into my notebook. And then if I was kind of, I don't know, like reading a book or reading a paper or whatever it was, I would be like jotting down all my notes. And having all those notes just made life so much easier, because it had like translated from, you know, the books that I was reading onto like my thoughts on paper, and then I could then like pick bits out and work out where I was going to put them in my dissertation, and what, you know, I could see whether I needed to like do more research in a certain area, or, you know, and fine, there was a lot of stuff in there that I didn't end up using, but it just made it easier to kind of write stuff as I went. Otherwise I would kind of be writing something and then I'd get to a point and I'd be like, oh, I'm sure I read about this somewhere, what did I do with it? And if I hadn't written it down, I then had to go and try and find this book again or find a page again. And, you know, just having it in my notebook and having it labelled up was so much easier, because I could just flick back to it and be like, oh, that was the bit, I can add that into here. And yeah, made it so much easier. So definitely make notes, colour code, highlight, label, however like you want to do it. Just make your notes, keep them like neat and labelled and tidy so that you know exactly what's in there, and it will make your life a lot easier. So as well as all the kind of making notes and stuff, it is really important to plan your time. it can be quite easy at the beginning of the year to think, oh, I've got so much time to write this dissertation, you know, I'll just do maybe a little bit here and a little bit there when I can kind of fit it in. And I mean, yeah, you do have a fair amount of time, but it goes so quickly. And I just found I needed to kind of make sure that I was planning in time to actually do my dissertation on like a regular basis, because sometimes I found it quite difficult to motivate myself to want to do anything. But if I'd actually got it written in my diary, you know, like Friday afternoon is going to be dissertation work, that just made my life easier. And because it was a more regular thing, I just felt like I was making progress, so that I wasn't leaving it all to the last minute, but at the same time I wasn't like stressing out and trying to get it all done in like one bit. So yeah, definitely make sure you plan in time for actually like working on your dissertation, but also it's just as important to plan time away from your dissertation. So, you know, plan like rest time, socializing time, time to spend with like family or going out or doing other stuff, because you need to make sure you've got a balance. You don't want to be spending every waking minute on your dissertation, because that's not needed. You know, as long as you have planned it out so that you're getting like bits done regularly, you know, here and there, then you have got time to also rest and relax. And that's really important, because you need that time away from your dissertation to be able to do well on your dissertation. So, you know, if you're spending every waking minute on your dissertation, you just can't think straight. And I often found I would have like the best ideas in the times when I wasn't like working on my dissertation. So I'd be like relaxing or something, and then like something might come to me, or I would like have a chill out day, and then I'd go back to sort of writing, and I'd have like a fresh mind and a fresh start, and I would have a lot more kind of ideas. So definitely balance your time, planning, like actually write in your planner like time for relaxing or like socializing and stuff, because if it's written down, you're more likely to go and do it. I found like if I didn't write down like chill out times, then it was very easy for me to just, you know, carry on with writing my dissertation and getting more and more stressed. So just make sure you balance your time and write it in, and so that you're doing a bit of work and a bit of leisure. So this next goal, I guess, goes with the whole breaking it down, but I would also recommend setting yourself short-term goals. So we actually had kind of goals, or what do you call it, hand-in dates for certain parts of our dissertation, which made things a lot easier actually. So like, for example, they would say that your literature review is due on this date, and then your research is due on this date. But if I hadn't had that, I think I would have had to have done that myself, because otherwise, if you've just got one long like goal in the sort of background, you've just, I don't know, I find it very difficult to kind of work towards that. So I find it very, very helpful to have like more smaller goals like as I go along. Can't speak today. So, you know, set yourself a goal of like when you're going to do your literature review by, when you're going to have finished your research by, when you're going to do your conclusion by, and all that kind of stuff. And then that helps to break it down, I think, so that it's not like you're not looking at one massive deadline, you're getting bits done like along the way. And yeah, that just made it so much more manageable for me. So this next tip is probably one of the most important tips that I can give you, and that is to keep your references as you go. Oh my god, I hated referencing, and I just cannot imagine what it would have been like if I'd written my whole dissertation and then had to go back and reference everything. It would have absolutely killed me. So any book you read, any website you look at, any research paper you read, any TV documentary you watch, whatever it is, write everything down that you need to know about that. You know, copy the links, copy the name of the book, everything. I put it all in a Word document in alphabetical order so that I knew exactly where everything was, and then it just made it so much easier. So when I came to the end of writing my dissertation, all I really had to do was make sure that my referencing was like done in the correct way. Obviously different universities have different ways of referencing. They might recommend different sort of applications to help you with it and stuff, but the biggest thing I can say is to just reference as you go. Honestly, you will thank me, because some people didn't do it and they really stressed out at the end because all of a sudden they couldn't find the book that they'd used, or they couldn't remember some of the information, and you can lose a lot of points for not referencing properly. So, you know, it's an easy way to make up points, you know, to do it as you go and to make sure it's all done properly. And like I say, keep it in alphabetical order in a Word document, and then it's going to be easy to find any references that you need. You know, if I found that I then didn't use a book, I would just like get rid of it. But having those references as I went along, yeah, just basically did the job for me in the end. So yeah, if you're going to do anything, I would definitely recommend doing that. So I said the last one was probably the most important thing, but actually this one I think is probably more important, and it is to back up your work. Oh my gosh, like we had this drummed into us so much when we were doing our dissertations, and I could see why, because I know a couple of people who lost their work and hadn't backed it up, and oh, I don't know what I would have done if that had happened. So, you know, this is a massive piece of work. The last thing you want is for your computer to get corrupted or something, and for you to have no backup, and it to be like 2 weeks before the deadline and you're completely screwed basically. So I would recommend emailing it to yourself, to your mum, to your dad, to your teacher, like whoever. I sent multiple emails to different people every time I like updated my dissertation. I also put it on various memory sticks, hard drives, just as many ways as you can possibly think of to back it up, because yeah, just the thought of losing all that work is enough to like, yeah, make anybody cry. So I can't say it enough, back up your work. My next tip, which is probably a bit like self-explanatory, but it's just don't leave everything till the last minute. I know a few people who have somehow managed to write a dissertation in like a week or two, and I have absolutely no idea how they do it, because the amount of work I had to put in over like however many months it was, I just don't understand how you can do that in a week. And I just, yeah, I wouldn't put yourself through it. Just, you know, plan, like I said earlier, don't leave it all till the last couple of weeks. And yeah, the last thing you want to be doing is stressing in that last week. You know, I finished mine, I made sure I finished mine, like I think it was a couple of weeks before the deadline, and it was so nice not to be like worrying about it so much. You know, there were people that were still going and that were like a lot behind, and I just thought I couldn't be in that position. And I know some people work better to, you know, a deadline, but set yourself deadlines as you go. Like I said, just don't leave it till the last minute, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're not going to be able to find a book that you need in the library, or that you're not going to be able to get it printed in time or anything. There's so many things that can happen that can, you know, like upset the mix, that it's just not worth leaving it all till the last minute. So yeah, plan and get it done way, you know, in advance. Don't leave it. I would also really recommend making use of your dissertation tutor. They're obviously called, I think they're called different things in different places, but basically the sort of tutor that is responsible for helping you with your dissertation. They will offer you tutorials, they'll offer you like one-to-one sessions, and I would just say like take anything that they will give you. And also if you need to contact them in between, you know, do that as well. They're there to help you. They want to help you like get the best mark with your dissertation. And I see some people, like my dissertation tutor when I was there was saying like some people she had never seen, and I don't know how people manage to get a dissertation written without seeing their tutor, because I found mine so helpful. She came up with ideas that I hadn't thought of. She helped me work out how I was going to do my research. If there were like problems that I had, she always seemed to have the answers. Just, yeah, make the most of like the help that you're given. Don't feel like you have to do it all on your own. And your dissertation tutor wants to help you. Like I know they hate it when like students don't come to them. So definitely just make the most of the help that is there for you, because you're paying for it, and you know, it's there for a reason, and it's going to help you get the best mark possible. Another tip that I found really helpful is asking someone to proofread what you've written. This can be your dissertation tutor, but it can also be family, friends, anybody that you want really. It doesn't even need to be someone that necessarily knows the topic particularly well. It's mainly just to kind of proofread your actual, sentence structures and writing and things like that. Don't kind of wait until you've written the whole dissertation and then ask someone to proofread it. Ask people to kind of proofread as you go. I find it really helpful because when you're writing like a big piece of work, your mind, I suppose you're quite like into it, so you don't often see, if you've repeated words or if you've rambled, which is what I always do, if you've got spelling mistakes, that kind of thing that are just easy for someone else to pick up. So use the people around you, get people to proofread what you've written, and listen to their advice. Obviously they're not necessarily going to be able to tell you if your concepts are correct or if your research is right, but they'll be able to give you sort of the basic feedback on your actual writing and whether it makes sense and all that kind of stuff. So get people to proofread and get them to do it more than once, get different people to do it, and definitely helped me just to kind of sort out the kind of basic English stuff. And then my last tip for you is to make sure that you leave time to get it printed and bound. Different universities want different things. For me, I had to get it bound kind of like this into kind of a book, and it took longer than I realised. So I'd got it all on a memory stick, and then I had to find a place to go and get it done. Thankfully there was one in the town that I went. Usually the university can kind of recommend you somebody, or if all of your friends are doing dissertations, you're probably likely going to find a place to go together. But I went down to get mine sorted out, took the memory stick, and went to the shop, and they kind of put it in and they said, oh, we can't read it, it's formatted for a Mac and we've got a Windows. So I was like panicking then, but thankfully I'd left enough time to like sort it all out. So I then had to go and like reformat it and everything, and then it takes like a few days for them to print it and to bind it and things like that. So just make sure you're leaving time to get all those things done, because you don't want to have spent loads and loads of time writing an amazing dissertation to then fall at the final hurdle of not being able to get it printed and bound nicely. And I just think I was so happy like when I went and picked up my like finished dissertation, because it looks like, I couldn't believe like I'd written all this, and it just looks nice. So leave time for those like finishing touches, and also I would say save a bit of money for it, because it's not cheap to get it done. And I think we had to hand in like 2 copies, plus I wanted to print one out like for myself to keep as well, so it does get quite expensive. So just make sure you've budgeted for that as well. But just make sure you're not leaving it all again till the last minute, and make sure that you've got enough time to get it finished properly and looking nice. So that is all of my tips for helping you to start writing your dissertation. I really hope that you have found some of them helpful. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've got any extra tips in the comments below, because they can hopefully help other people. If you've enjoyed the video and you want to see more from me, please give me a like and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to press the bell as well, because then you'll get notified every time I upload a video. Please leave me a comment. Again, like I said, let me know any of your tips for writing a dissertation. Tell me if you're writing your dissertation this year, what are you writing it on? And also let me know if there's any other videos you would find useful, either about university or about other things. And I will see you again in another video very soon. Bye!